Fall 2022 anime was probably the biggest season yet. You have some of the most massive animes released this season, and I want to see if these shows actually bang. Before I go any further, make sure to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Of course, we have to start with the biggest anime right now, Chainsaw Man. This show slapped me harder than my friend's dong on prom night. It's just crazy. Like, you think it's a chill moment and then they hit you with a freaking rocket launcher out of nowhere. When people said this series will go 0 to 100 and stay at 100, I thought they were lying and they were just trying to hype the show up. Turns out, they weren't. The animation is an A+, it's so smooth, and the amount of attention to detail in the animation, it's a chef's kiss. The soundtrack is beautiful. During the action set pieces, you have the music that helps accompany it, and it really helps sell the fights, and when it's a down moment, the music helps deliver there too. Of course, the characters are all really great. Denji, of course, has his one goal, and honestly, who wouldn't want that goal? Aki, super dope, super badass. Power is, of course, power. Words can't describe just how insane she is. Kobeni is just the sweetest yet most annoying character that you can't help but love. Makima and Himeno piss me off since they have a thing for grooming a teenager, but they're hot, so it's acceptable. Chainsaw Man really deserves the hype, and I can't wait for the next season. The only other thing that made me mad was how manga readers just love to spoil stuff like crazy. If I just want to look up a cool moment, or if I'm watching a TikTok, I have to deal with people spoiling shit. So now I have to read it. Overall, just an amazing anime that bangs. Spy Family is my ultimate feel-good show. I love everything about it. Anya being super cute and funny, Yor being a beast but also a little stupid, and then of course you've got Lloyd, who is a super smart spy but doesn't have any suspicion about his family. Characters are an A+ there. The animation and soundtrack is great. The spy themes that play throughout the show, they're so much fun. The visuals are stunning, the opening themes were great, the plot, it's pretty decent. Nothing out of this world or thought-provoking, but not every show needs to be like that. It isn't a super deep show. It's just a show about found family, and it's a heartfelt series. The writing is good, and it's one of the few animes that actually make me laugh. I've always had issues with comedy in anime, where most of it is just cringe and annoying, but this show really doesn't do that. The stories that follow Anya were surprisingly one of my favorites. I just thought it was always funny how you see the thought process of a kid who's trying to help his dad, who's a spy, but doesn't really understand the actual stakes that are involved in this. Overall, it's an adorable show and I love it. This show is a banger. I already did a review on this. You can check that out in the link up in the top right corner or in the description. If you see in the video, you know my thoughts, but I'll go ahead and give you just a really brief rundown. The show is a masterpiece. Amazing animation, characters, soundtrack, writing. I cannot recommend this show enough. It has a great message about growth and discovering who you are. This show is a banger. Nothing else I can say. I want to make this clear before I go any further. I hate sports anime. I love watching basketball, and I watch other sports casually. No matter how hard I try, I could not get into sports anime. I felt like this type of genre was predictable, and I just don't like scripted stories in sports. I tried watching Kuroko, but I just couldn't get into it. So now that I got that out of the way, Blue Lock. It's pretty good. I think what's different about this is that it's a battle royale, but just with soccer, and that's something I can get with. It goes against what every sports anime teaches, the power of teamwork. Blue Lock says, screw that, you have to become the star and survive. Soccer is a sport that I have little to no interest in, so I think that's kind of why I like it. If this was basketball, for example, I would judge it like crazy and think certain moves were really stupid. But since I don't watch soccer, I'm more open to this. The show isn't finished, but so far, it's kind of a banger. This show is the textbook definition of mid. There is nothing wrong with that though. I've enjoyed it, but I'm not obsessed with it. I always felt like the show was just fine. I don't think I could ever give this show higher than a low B, and this season has just been fine. I've read the manga and I know how this arc ends, and overall, it's a pretty decent arc. This is supposed to be the biggest season yet and quite possibly one of the biggest arcs in the show. It's just with this season, I haven't been impressed with the animation, especially if you look at the previous seasons. Shigaraki is just stupid overpowered at this point, and I just don't find the fights to be that creative where it's just punch harder. Overall, it's not terrible, but it's not fantastic either. It's mid, it's good. It's good enough for me. I would have to say the show bangs. To Your Eternity caught my eye last year with its amazing and heartbreaking first episode, and I just felt like the show started off super strong and then slowly started losing its footing. I will say I'm a bit more interested in this second season, as the characters that have been introduced are pretty well written with some interesting motivations. Animation isn't anything out of this world, which isn't a big deal breaker to me. Fushi is a great character, but despite being immortal and having lived for quite a while now, you would think he would gain some wisdom or knowledge about certain people, yet he can still be an idiot at times. But in general, I think the characters are much stronger this time around, and I'm about ready to cry too as we get closer and closer to the end of the season. Now, as of this video, the season isn't over yet, and hopefully it doesn't go down slowly like the previous season did. So far, I'm enjoying this season, and I would have to say it's a banger. You can't go wrong with Jojo's. Now, I don't think it's the best anime ever, but it is a very strong one. Part 5 is still my favorite so far in the anime, followed by Part 2. And Part 6? It's pretty good. I don't know what it is about Jojo's, but I always find myself watching and thinking it's fine. Maybe it's mid, but then you get closer to the conclusion of each part and it just goes to another level. Part 3 was like that for me. It felt like it was dragging, but the final fight with Dio made Part 3 as good as most people remember it. Part 4, in my opinion, started off pretty weak until we got closer to the finale with Kira. Part 5 was the only exception where I was hooked all the way through. Part 6 did not meet that expectation that Part 5 had set up for me. It reminded me a lot of Parts 3 and 4, where I wasn't super interested in the beginning. I was down with it, but it wasn't anything crazy to me. But the final arc, that's what got me into it. The issues I had with this season more than anything was with the animation. It did feel a bit of a downgrade, especially in the first half that Netflix released. Like, you had people not even fully drawn in the background, and CGI was used for a lot of stands. Luckily, the second batch improved the animation just a bit, and the final batch made it even better. Overall, characters were strong. Pucci, Jolene, Weather, Emporio, they were all amazing. Soundtrack and sound design was as good as any JoJo's part. Pucci's theme is so freaking epic, and I just love it. I think overall the final batch really excelled, so I'm gonna have to say that this anime was a banger. So that's all the anime that I watched this season. There's some that are on my watch list that I plan to watch in the future. Now, before some of you guys do get a bit mad why I didn't include Bleach, it's because I am watching it for the first time, so that's why the newest season wasn't on this list. But I am going to be looking forward to winter 2023, so that will be very exciting. Anyways, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel as well. I'm MoeFoeGenius, and I'm signing off. Have a wonderful day.